welcome to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things related to creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Jessy Ratfink and Adam Mackey. And this week, I'm going to pass it off over to Adam, who just shoved a bunch of food in his mouth because for some reason, that's what you do when you're about to start a podcast. And it's his topic that he wants to introduce. And I'm just trying to go as long as possible so that he can finish chewing and then hand it over to him.
And anyway, I'm shoving food in. He just got home.
Exactly. I got home from work and ran upstairs to record because my last train was late. But anyway, so if any of our Patreons know the story of what's going on in my car and all that sort of stuff, and I just talked about it in the pre-show. So if you want to become a Patreon and listen to that, you can. But essentially, I'm replacing my car my truck with a smaller car just to get the kids around, and I'm riding my motorbike to work every day. Now, with that, my motorbike it's only a 250cc little cruiser thing. I want to upgrade to something bigger because I actually enjoy riding every day to work. And what I'm looking at doing is getting a bigger Virago, so a 650, and I want to turn it into something along the lines of like a Harley Street Glide, like with the big batwing fairing on the front, big panniers on the back, and all that sort of stuff. I can't find anyone that has done that. Like, there's people who put on like the batwing and stuff, but no one's gone the full commitment of like modifying parts to make it look like a Harley. And I feel like it'd be a really cool build, and I really would love to get into motorcycle content and that sort of stuff. I've always wanted to, but never really knew how to. And I tried that with like my current bike and my CLAMPmendation for last week, for instance, like the wreck bike rebuild. I would love to get to a point where I could build motorbikes and sell them or give them away, or I'd love like just build motorbikes all the time. I think it'd be really cool. So I wanted to talk about transitioning from one type of content to another. Do I make a new channel dedicated to that? Do I just build off what I already have, and the people that don't like it can just leave and unsubscribe? Because that channel to me is now, I'm not going to be doing anything else with it. So do I just start making motorcycle content on there? Like, I'm still going to be technically making things and making motorcycles in a way. So the name still works and everything. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about that shifting from one to the other, and how people, there's some people out there that have grown their audience to hundreds of thousands of subscribers and then gone, you know what, now I've got my audience, this is the content, I can make the content that I always wanted to make. And then their audience is like, hang on a minute, this isn't what I signed up for.
So my thoughts on that, and the initial thing is, one, you have a hobby channel, so none of it matters, right? You're not even monetized.
Yeah.
Put out whatever you want. Yeah. Even like if you're looking at, like, I have 5,000 subscribers, put out whatever you want. It literally doesn't matter. All your subscribers are meaningless. The numbers do not matter, right? Yeah. They only matter sometimes to some sponsors who don't understand how it works, right? Instead, like, if you're really considering transitioning to a different thing, you've already transitioned. You used to be the
I definitely have.
Right. Yeah. So just keep making your I think Maker Mackie works, whatever. Do whatever you want. It's your name. Yeah. Right? That's why I went with my name. I can do anything I want on my channel. Whatever makes me happy, I do it. Now, the other thing is, in today's world, the thing that matters way more than subscriber count is individual videos can do amazing on a channel regardless of size. You can have a tiny, tiny channel with 1 million views on a video, with engaged viewers, right? Who watched and commented and liked and whatever, and they just didn't subscribe because subscribing means nothing anymore. So people aren't subscribing because subscribing means nothing. So why would I subscribe when YouTube doesn't show me the things I'm subscribed to?
Sure.
Right? So all that doesn't matter. Make the content you want to make. Use the channel you have, because it's silly to make another one unless you want to do both. The only time it makes sense to have them is if you want to have both at the same time doing different things, right? If you have 2 focuses, 2 channels. If you want to change focus, just change.
Yeah.
If you ever want to go back, you still can.
True.
And now Jessy's going to come in with the complete opposite idea so that the podcast can be interesting.
Devil's advocate. Let's go.
Oh man. No, I was just honestly sitting here thinking about multiple channels and why you would even do that. I always get very confused, and y'all might have more idea because, you're more in the YouTube sphere. I always get really confused when I see YouTubers that have multiple channels. Is that just the way that YouTube runs and that you can't mix too much content because it confuses the algorithm? Is that really all that's happening there?
Yeah. So there's two things about it. So a lot of people that I watch, video game, they take highlight games, put up highlights, even I watch their 30-minute videos. So they're long things, but then they take their 8-hour streaming session and put it up as a raw file, like a full 8-hour file.
Same thing, yeah.
On a different channel. And the reason for it being on a different channel is because if you put up those 8-hour long things on your main channel and they don't get the click-through rate, YouTube just doesn't send them to the people, they devalue your channel. Now that's old talk because I don't think it happens as much as it used to, but it definitely still happens. It's just not as prevalent as it used to be.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Because that is the thing that I always get really confused about, because for me, kind of the same as y'all, I've always sort of done stuff under my name. So I never had a craft or a hobby or anything attached to the end of it. So I could always just do whatever. And I've never really considered branching out into different, this is the embroidery and this is everything else, it just seems like so much work for content creators to think about both where they're going to put the video, how they're going to market, who they're going to market it to. It's so convoluted. My brain just doesn't work that way. I think I would just still throw everything in, even if, I was told, well, YouTube does all this shitty stuff to you if you don't play by their rules. I think I would still just throw it all in one bucket.
So that's the problem with you're not doing it full time. That's not your job, right? And you're not coming from a marketing perspective on it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're coming from a marketing perspective, you can understand branching out into different brands. That's why you don't see all the tools under a single brand name. That's why companies, they'll buy a brand and then continue to sell that, or they'll start a new brand. Like Toyota has Lexus. They have it because people won't buy a Toyota that's worth the amount of money they'll pay for a Lexus.
Yeah.
I get that, but I'm also very sad that we've gotten to the point where we're comparing people and their personal brands to corporate companies. That is so nuts to me.
It's kind of what it is.
It's gotten to that point. Yeah. Oh my God.
So this is where it all depends on where you have developed your community around. So some people have their community around themselves and their personality. If it's yourself and your personality, it doesn't matter what you do, they're there for you, right? No matter what you do, you could dig a tunnel underneath your house and you get millions of views, right? And all you're doing is digging a tunnel. And I like
you can make 8 videos out of it.
Right. And I don't understand how did so many people watch this, Colin? Right?
I don't know why I watched it. I'm so confused. I'm 7 videos in and I'm like, why am I watching the same video again? Right. But I just was engaged. I don't know why.
Right, because you're engaged with Colin, because Colin is an engaging individual.
True.
Right,
yeah.
Colin Furze, for anyone who doesn't know. Mm-hmm. He's an engaging individual who makes good content and can sell fucking digging for 8 videos, right? Whereas other people make epic stuff and hope that the YouTube algorithm feeds it. There's people who only do woodworking, and they know that there are people who only watch woodworking, and so they're trying to hit the people who watch woodworking by making woodworking content, right? There's people who only do leatherworking and want to hit the people who only watch leatherworking. But there's other people who that is one avenue to go down. And if you're in that avenue, transitioning is difficult because you'll basically go from whatever you were doing. Say you're getting 100,000 views on a video for your leatherworking videos. You try and do anything else, and YouTube will send it to all the leather workers, and all the leather workers are going to look, I don't want to fucking watch him play badminton or whatever, you know what I mean? And they do not watch it, and then YouTube tanks your channel. But if people are dedicated to you and your brand, then they'll watch it regardless of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But it's difficult because you have to then, your videos have to be at a much higher level, in my mind, for it to be you, right? Yeah. Because I think if the value you bring is you have to bring a better production value. You have to bring a better story. You have to bring better editing. You have to bring better, like, everything has to be better. If this thing that you're bringing is how to, the value is in what you're teaching. Yeah. Right. So the quality can be a little lower as long as you're getting the like we were talking about in the pre-show. Jessy needs to learn Fusion, and she was talking about how boring a lot of the Fusion courses are. Well, it's because they don't need to have the high production value excitement, because the value they bring is teaching you a skill. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they want to appeal to the most amount of people by making it bland AF, right?
I 100% agree with that, because I feel the same way. Like, a lot of Fusion tutorials and that are boring. Hence, I wouldn't take a course. I just Google, or like I watch a video on something specific I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. You know, and so the person, Chase on Two Wheels, who does the wrecked bike rebuild that I talked about last week for my CLAMPmendation, he's sort of wrecked bike rebuild is sort of like the content that I want to make. Like, his videos are about 40 minutes long, and it's not how-tos or anything. It's literally just like, join us for the build. And I think that's sort of what I want to make. I don't want to do videos on specific things. It's more of like just a series on doing it, as opposed to trying to make a story out of how to make a table.
But you're still telling a different story. I just think you're not realizing it, because what they're telling is this bike is wrecked. How do I get it rebuilt?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's definitely story there, but I just mean, like, I've always found it very difficult to make building something entertaining. Like, watch me build this box. Like, okay, it's a box. Like, there's nothing special about it.
But there's nothing special about a car. There's nothing special about a bike.
No, I know, but
the only thing, right? The thing that's special about it is that either you don't know how it works, right? So that's special, and you're figuring it out along the way. And the problem is, you're looking at a box as the final product, and the box doesn't matter. It never did. Unless you're teaching someone how to make the box, literally teaching them how to make a box, and then you're up against everyone else who's ever taught someone how to make a box. That's not what matters, right? You got to tell the story. It's kind of like you made those drums into coffee table,
drum into the table,
yeah, and you lost the story along the way. You had an epic build, and it could have been an amazing story, and you didn't even have a picture at the end of, like, the final product.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Right, like, so you had the story, and then everyone's like around going, "What do I see at the end? Nothing." Right. Yeah. So you, like, built up to nothing, but you had the chance of a story, but you were concentrating on how to do it and not why you did it.
Yeah.
This is where, like, I feel like I've had a real hard time editing videos, because I have the same problem. I have all this, like, I want to show people how to do it, but how doesn't sell, and I'm not feeling how on, like, one-off projects, right? If I'm not making plans for it, it's really hard to sell on a how-to.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, you want to sell them on the why, and or on the, like, amazingness of the product, right? Like, if you think of, like, a Jackman Works giant pallet wood hammer, there's no how-to there, right? Nobody's going out there building another giant hammer the way he did, or giant screwdriver, or giant whatever, right? The exciting part is, like, is why he did it. That's what sells.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you watch, like, any of sort of my Fusion videos and stuff, like, they were never how to do this in Fusion. It was always, this is what I'm making, and then let me show you how I designed it in Fusion. But I'm not really talking you through it. I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
Right. So that's even the problem. That's still tutorial based.
Yeah.
What you need is a why. So if you think about, I was listening to the Builder Sessions podcast, and they had I gotta go look up the guy's name. Cut this out, Mackie. Later. Motion Auto was the guy's name, and he was talking about like why he got into making YouTube videos in 2007 is because nobody showed the full process. And the full process, like from start to finish, is what a lot of maker videos are, right? And I feel like that's great for people who want that, but it doesn't have mass market appeal. And that's why things like Overhauling and Pimp My Ride have this like piece of shit car, and 3 seconds later it's in the paint shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the thing that they try and capture is the drama of what happened, because that it doesn't apply. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I remember American Restorations was a show, season 1. I loved it because they talked a lot about why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And season 2, 3, 4 talked about the story of why this thing mattered. And I said, I don't care. I don't know that person. I don't give a flying fuck if it was their grandfather's toy. I want to know what you're doing to make it look good again. Like, how are you restoring it? What process are you using? Right. But there's a nice, there's a sweet spot between the two. And I find that TV often lends itself over to the way too much on drama.
Mm-hmm.
They try and capitalize on any
Definitely.
there's a tiny amount of drama. Let's capitalize it, right? And they get away from the process 100%. And a lot of YouTube content is way too deep in the weeds, where if you're not doing it, like I remember watching a couple like trucks or something as a kid, like the like Power Block TV, and they would often tell you like, and torque it to 52 foot-pounds, and you're like, if I'm not making this 1997 Ford Mustang turbo thick kit, like I don't need to know that number. You don't need to tell me the number.
Well, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, just because when I do start really getting into embroidery again, I probably will need to share videos. And I've been thinking a lot about, would something like a time lapse of me stitching a piece be more valuable for me as far as like, views and impressions and reach? Or would it be like individual stitches, showing them off and then showing the finished product? Like, I've been doing a lot of thinking about video, but I also don't know that I'm even prepared to make decisions like that, because I just feel like I don't understand it, even though I know I need to switch to video and figure it out really badly to get with the times.
You don't have to. You don't have
I
to
feel
at all.
like, well, I just feel like you don't get traction on social media. I know that you've said that you think photos and carousels are starting to get bigger on Instagram, but I'm not seeing it. And I don't know. I'm still sort of feeling like you must do video or you get no traction, because you don't really see a lot of the big like making blogs linking to individual websites anymore. They're linking to someone's YouTube, they're linking to GitHub, they're linking to something that has substance. And I just keep worrying.
I feel
like
it's gone. The pendulum has swung on that really far, and people are coming back to everyone's saying, you know what you need now? You need your own website to host your own content. You need your own newsletter, because all these companies are going to stop. They're going to stop promoting you. So you need to have you need to have a backup plan, right? Where you provide value to people through your own means of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're selling product, you need to have this. If you're like us, we're hobby people, like we just put it up into the ether and hope that some way it gets to some people. But I have posted videos that are getting nothing, right? Nothing. And I've posted pictures that have blown up. And I go, I don't understand. This whole, like, everyone's worried about video. I think it's actually easier to make a 30-second video than to do 10 pictures.
Oh, not for my brain. I mean, I think I can get it eventually, but I feel as though I am constantly retaking a video to get it just perfect. I feel like I struggle a lot more with that than just pictures. I mean, even the time spent editing the pictures is probably quicker than me trying to do a short video a lot of the time.
How many pictures have you taken in your life?
Oh, I don't even know. Hundreds of thousands?
How many videos?
Hundreds.
Right. So
yeah, exactly.
is there a reason potentially why you're better at doing the picture thing?
I mean, I thought I added a disclaimer up top saying I sucked at video, sir.
No. What I'm saying is it's not. You're more efficient at the pictures because you've done more. But I think it's faster to do a 30-second video than it is to do 10 pictures in a carousel.
Mm-hmm.
Especially these days with like the TikTok editor and stuff, you can just pick a song and then it'll automatically cut your videos to the right length and stuff. And there's so many video programs out there that'll do so much for you.
Yep. So if you want to transition into a different type of content, I think like I think you should just do whatever makes you happy. Because if you're doing little videos and they're not making you happy, then don't do them. Because people won't want to watch you make shitty videos that you don't want to make.
Well, yeah, see, that's the other thing too. Like that's half the reason why I stopped doing YouTube was because I wasn't happy with the content I was making, and that came across in my videos. You know, I'm like, hey, welcome. You know, like not like, hey, like, you know, I wasn't giddy about it because I wasn't excited. I wasn't, you know, I'm just like trying to make content, not because I actually wanted to or I was enjoying it.
I feel like you burnt yourself out because you were like, I can do a video a week, and you did for a while, and then you got like stuck, like you had like made this like problem in yourself and burnt yourself out, and on top of that,
I think it was
like so I would post it every day from like October till like April, and because I saw constant growth. Constant numbers, my phone blowing up every day, money coming into my bank account. It was really motivating to continue. And as soon as that went away, I think it's been over a week since I've posted a video.
Yeah, I haven't seen you all over my feed like usual.
Yeah. It is. I've just been like it. I've been like this whole cottage for people who listen to the pre-show, like it going away, like a lot of time and effort and energy and like thought went into that. And like, you know, my free time was spent thinking about what I wanted to do with the cottage, how I wanted to spend my time there with the kids. When I lost it, I was like, oh, that sucks. So now I've been like doom scrolling through cottages I can't afford.
That's like my wife keeps having to go at me because I'm looking at bikes and she's like, you don't need a bike, you need a car. Like, get your head where it needs to be.
Right. But no, I'd already thought about like transitioning my channel, like all the videos I was going to make at this cottage. I even was thinking like, oh, how am I going to take all this like trials and tribulations of almost getting the cottage, putting through the offer, now triple offer comes in and blah, blah, blah. Like, how am I going to film back that so I can introduce the cottage project? Right. And I had like this, like, I had like almost like had like a screenplay of what I wanted and how I wanted to film it. And thinking about it, and then it all just like disappeared, and so much mental energy went into nothing. I don't know, but that's like the thinking of like transitioning. As I was thinking, like, you know, I've seen a lot of different places go, like transition from making project-based videos to rebuilding a house, building a cabin, doing whatever, because that takes over their life. They're going to build their new shop. Now all of a sudden, for 10 months, it's all shop building things, and sometimes that blows the channel up. But the problem with that, and what I've seen with a few different channels that I've watched over time, is that they'll build, while they're building their cabin, their shops, or whatever, they get a lot of people interested in that. And as soon as they're done, whatever they do next needs to be either building another cabin, take you along for the next ride, or they've lost all those people they gained along the way, right? Like, I'm sure they got some people, but it kind of, if it were me, and I know for me, like, anytime I post a blacksmithing video and it blows up because they blow up for some reason for me because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I guess. And that's why they blow up. But, and then I post anything else and it gets nothing, right? I bounced a fucking ball bearing on my, like the biggest reel I've had in the last like month is I bounced a ball bearing on my anvil as a joke. And it's like, biggest short I've ever had, biggest reel in a month. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, it literally took the time that however long the video is plus 30 seconds. That's how long it took, right? The 30 seconds is like writing the description. Other than that, like it took no time at all. I just went, this is so silly. And I don't want to I don't want to do blacksmithing stuff. I don't know anything about blacksmithing. I don't like, I enjoy it, but I enjoy it as like part of the process of something else. I don't want it to become my channel. The same way I don't want I enjoy using like the wood lathe. I don't want it to become a wood turning channel. I enjoy making leather projects. I don't want to transition into being a leather channel, because as soon as you start doing that, but at the same time, by not doing similar stuff, YouTube doesn't know where to send my stuff. So when I do post a long form video, they have no clue who to send it to, and you can tell because they'll often I'll get a blow up of based off my trailer video doing well. They'll send some leatherworking video to everyone, and the people who watch my trailer restoration don't give a flying fuck about my headphones. So if you want to transition and it's a hobby, don't worry about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
If it's your business, think about it a lot more. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking away from this, that it's terrifying to be a small business owner that relies on social media for, your traffic and your money. That is overwhelming to think about, honestly, just how much you have to consider and how closely you would need to watch if you did start making small changes and people didn't like it. Because I can't think of any creators or makers who have made a change and there was a huge backlash. Can you guys think of anybody?
So the biggest ones I can think of are people who did shop builds. And I know I unsubscribed from a lot of people as soon as they started doing a shop build because I just had no desire to watch it. So I can remember Jay Bates, he did a big shop build and he was like, this is video one. And he introduced it as this is my channel for the next little while. And I went, see you later. Right. And because I just don't have any desire to see that because I really enjoy watching people build projects that have a purpose and a thing. I like project videos. The internet doesn't like them apparently, but I like project videos and I like seeing why they make choices. And everyone else seems to think they like, home rental videos, but shop videos. No, I think he's grown since that. I just know I unsubscribed, but I think he's bigger now than ever. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching him around the same time, but then once he was finished, his content sort of came back to where it was, and I started watching him again.
Yeah.
So
I know, go ahead.
Well, I think what I'm learning from this conversation is that I really only follow people who I like personally, because I'm trying to think, I don't really unfollow people because they start doing something else or there's something showing up that I'm not liking. I'm always sort of into it. So yeah, I guess I'm just sort of focused on people and not what's happening.
Right. Well, and so I think if I think about other big creators, I know there's people who tried to transition into doing vlogs. And everyone I know who has tried to do a vlog style, go from maker content to vlog style, no matter who they are, how big they are, from the big names with millions of subscribers to the people with 1,000, everyone who starts putting out vlogs soon stops because it's not unless you are into that person, it's not very exciting to watch their week in a review, right? You have to be into that person to really get something from it, unless they lead a ridiculously exciting life and they can pull the story. There are stories every day. There's stories that you can pull out and you could turn those stories into a video. But the thing is, you need to be really good at storytelling to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And to answer your question from earlier in the episode, This is why people have 2 channels. Like they might have their normal making channel and then a vlog channel. Or, and like say Chase on 2 Wheels, who I'm going to keep referencing, made a channel Chase on 4 Wheels because he wanted to start doing car reviews, but he knew that his motorcycle community wouldn't be as interested.
Right.
So
that's an example that actually makes sense to me. Yeah.
I think if you're a maker and you want to make vlog content, having a second channel where people that follow your maker, like you talk about it on your maker channel, be like, hey, I'm making a second channel. If you're interested in my life, come subscribe over there. And the people that aren't interested aren't going to be annoyed and unsubscribe. Not just unsubscribe, but like YouTube's also going to look at that and go, oh, people are only watching 10% of these videos because they're not interested. I'm going to stop recommending them.
10 would be wonderful.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
yeah.
Well, I was more thinking of when you were talking about like that 8-hour live stream vlog, whatever they're called, vlog things, of like someone's going to watch like half an hour and be like, yeah, I'm watching 8 hours,
Right. But some people, like, they put it up there because some people want to watch it.
Hey, I do.
And it's literally super, like, put it on the background content, but it's easy for them, right? Like, that's why they put up these 8-hour long things. Their Twitch stream, they just auto upload it to YouTube because they can, and then they take all the highlights out of it and edit it into like a much better 30-minute video.
And that goes on a separate channel?
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm following this craziness. Yeah. Okay.
You don't have to. You don't have to do it. It's just potentially better.
I mean, but the way that you talk about YouTube makes me think that they will punish you for everything. So it's kind of, oh my God.
But you could also be rewarded for anything. It's like the lottery.
I hate it.
100%.
You know, any ticket could be a winner.
So then I guess the question is, how do you recognize a winner and how do you decide to continue on a content path? Like after you've made a little bit of a turn, where do you decide to stop?
So here's what I do is as soon as I see something is going well, I make a turn. And I turn away from whatever the fuck's happening that's going well. I say, oh, shit, I could be successful. Let me get away from that. And I stop doing whatever that is. And, so I wouldn't ask me what to do. But no, really, what you got to do is if you see a video taking off, you capitalize on it. If you see that your trailer restoration video is taking off, make more videos around your trailer. If you have time to do another restoration, do it, right? If you see restoration videos are taking off and project videos aren't, do restorations. If you see nobody's watching your restoration videos and right, like then, but you put out like a woodworking video and people are like, oh, I do like your woodworking videos. And then it's just like whatever's getting the action at the time, build videos around that. Now, if you could look at your videos and look at what's trending and see where they align, and you had the like flexibility to make anything at all, which most of us do. We just don't.
Yeah, we just don't choose to.
We don't because we don't want to. But like when I think about like Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, always talking about like, oh, what's the next video and stuff like that. And I'm like, you have a dedicated team with so much info, and you guys could make anything at all. And you're always so worried about like, what should I make? And I get it. It's like you're like the possibilities are endless, and it becomes problematic. And you also, on top of that, have some like squeaky wheels in the background yelling at you for things like the Karmagia. Like you haven't posted what's happening with this. What's happening like before the Karmagia was what's happening with R2D2. I was like, I like Bob. I've watched a lot of his videos. I've never watched one of his R2D2 builds. I don't care. Right? There's nothing. I'm never going to make one. I don't care about it. I get like it's a trash can upside down or whatever, and he goes beep, boop, boop. Great. I don't care. Right? And I would DM me with all your Star Trek or Star Wars hate.
Star Trek. Oh, now you're in trouble.
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica, whatever. Engage. So whatever you want to do, like, but so this is where it's like, if you have the channel like that, you got all that ability. You can see what people are looking at right now and build something around that. And so if you're looking to transition, you're looking at what's building, look at what's hot. So like Bob Wood stuff, he often in the spring will put out like a new planter video because his planter videos do well in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows in the spring, put out a new planter video, his old planter videos will do well, and the new one will do well, right? So this is like the thing. He's seen the trend. So if you want to transition, look for the trends that are happening in your videos and capitalize them when they're happening.
I guess that's really,
that's
the hardest part is, capitalizing it when it's actively happening. Because I can't tell you the last time that I jumped on some sort of trend. It's probably been almost a decade. Because I used to do it for Instructables. We'd sort of see what was popular any time of the year or like surging in the last couple weeks. And we would be able to capitalize on it because it was my job. But I'm just, thinking as a content creator who's not doing it full time, transitioning it sounds so scary. But then I guess, for someone like me, it doesn't matter really. Like anything that I do is not going to have any sort of detrimental effect on my measly follower count. It's just very stressful for me to think of larger creators doing that.
I think if they're trying to make something that's interesting in the way that they can make it and make it interesting, it doesn't matter what they're making. They can I think people just get caught up in their heads too much, and we all do it, right? We worry way too much about things that don't matter.
100%.
Well, and things that are out of our control too, especially when it comes to social media. There's so much that you can't control. You just have to ride with it.
Well, this is where it's like a lot of people talk about my goal is to get 100,000 followers. That's a stupid goal because you do not control that, right? I've been watching a guy on YouTube for a year, and he's been at 98,000 subscribers for over a year, and he's producing, and he's one of the Hearthstone streamers that I watch, and his videos get more views than all the other ones that I watch.
Mm-hmm.
And he just is not climbing. I don't know why nobody is following him, right? He's getting views. He's getting good traction compared to the other people who have more subscribers than he does. But the other people who have more subscribers started before him.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't understand it.
No.
So the number's not within his control. He's putting out good content. He literally puts out a video every single day with a different deck every day. He does not take a day off, and he hasn't taken a day off for as far as I can tell, 4 or 5 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's not within your control to set numbers like that. You can celebrate them when they happen, but don't worry about things that aren't within your control. Worry about putting a video out every day. That's within your control.
That's a fair point. I don't know. I have very strong feelings about the uncertainty on social media because that's something that I'm also dealing with on the Instructables Instagram account. We have been above 195,000 for a year, but we're stuck 2,000 or 3,000 away from 200,000. And it's just everything I do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't grow. It just doesn't. All of our other numbers can look great, but that one doesn't change.
And one day it'll happen. Something will pop off. You'll get to 295 and go and be stuck there. And then go, I want to get to 300.
Yeah.
Right?
Because we're at 298 right now, and it's driving me crazy.
Right. But you'll just get to a new number that doesn't matter. That is now all of a sudden the goal you need to be at. But that's all it is. Just be happy that you guys aren't losing numbers.
Yeah, I just find it so unbelievable that it's become so hard to build yourself up lately. Because thinking about when I was doing all of this and I sort of transitioned to I guess embroidery porn is what you could call it, where all of the photos were very bright and very pretty and lots of colors. And I would always have my rainbow embroidery floss arranged. And just doing that, I got 10,000 people to follow me in like no time at all. But I know people who have started businesses in the last couple of years and they just don't get anywhere. You don't get any traction. And it's all sort of that hit and miss lottery. You might get lucky, you might not. And I just hate that. It's so stressful for me. And yeah, this conversation almost makes me want to be like, yeah, I'm not going to care about numbers. I'm just going to make things for fun. Because if I care about the numbers at all, I will have an aneurysm.
Right. Well, this is what. Yeah, go ahead.
What Grant was saying before about how I was trying to put out a video a week and all that sort of stuff, and I wasn't seeing the growth that I wanted to see from it. I have seen more growth since I stopped putting out content and since I said I was quitting YouTube than I did putting out weekly videos. I literally have gone up like 60 subscribers since I quit YouTube, and I didn't get 60 subscribers over the time of doing a weekly video. Like, it's nuts. It's I don't get it.
Right. So it's like, I know I was producing content every single day, and that's great. But like a single video of mine took me from 5,000 followers on Instagram to 60,000.
Yeah.
A single video. So that's all it takes is one, which is ridiculous. But you know what we have that's more than one? Our Patreons.
Patrons?
Exactly.
Patreons.
So, our Patreon supporters. I would like to especially thank our F-Clamp level, Vincent Ferrari from Digitally Creative, and who, if you're interested, you can watch or listen to Digitally Creative. And, one of our wonderful hosts was on there last week. Scott from That Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, Rich from Lowen Designs, David Wood from DW Wood Builds, and everyone else who supports us over there. If you want to get access to the pre-show, after show, and the monthly Discord hangout, as well as a keychain made by yours truly, you can head on over to patreon.com/clamp, and you can support us there for as little as $1 an episode. It actually helps us out a lot so that we don't have to worry about the numbers of downloads that we get, because if we were doing this with ads, the numbers would matter. And they would be paying us based on how many downloads we get and not by how engaged our wonderful audience is, because we know we have a great engaged audience who loves us, and that's why they support us. And if we instead had a numbers-based thing and all that mattered was the total number of downloads, it would be very stressful for us. So thank you very much for all you guys and gals out there that support us, because it does help us, do this every week. And with that, CLAMPmendations. So this week, I'm going to recommend the people I was talking about earlier, the Builder Sessions podcast. There are a couple of shop teachers from Alberta, Canada, and they're doing a great little podcast. And they've got some really amazing guests on there, some big names. So you should go check them out. It's a great little podcast. One day, maybe they'll have me on there, and then they can have one of the biggest names in podcasting. Yeah, just joking. But yeah, it's actually a really good thing. So they do it in an interesting way. They had a little like inside baseball when they were talking about it. They get together in one day and record back to back all their episodes for like a month or two, because they're all like interviews with people. And I just went like, that's such an interesting way. And I wondered, like, I don't think they release them in the order they record them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because like, I think then you would really be able to tell like how manic they get or how like tired they get.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. But it's an interesting way of doing it. But I think it's good because I feel like you can get into like a rhythm, and it can help, because when you're doing interviews, you can have people that are not used to speaking, and you really need to be a good interviewer. Whereas if you're just like us randomly talking, you can have someone that some episodes people go, I didn't even know Adam was on the episode until about 30 minutes in, right?
True. Well, I mean, The only problem with doing that is that you're releasing a podcast 2 months later that's not up to date with the real world. So, like, if you talk about the real world at all,
right? So they don't.
and
They're interviewing people, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah.
It would only become a problem if you interview someone and then they later die, right? Or you interview someone and they later turn out to be a Nazi. Well, guess what? That's good. Now you don't have to release it, right?
Yeah.
So if anything, it's good. But no, it's good. It's a good thing. They put on a good show and they have some really great guests with some like inspirational shit that they've talked about. And I don't know. It's a really good it's a really good podcast. So go check it out. There'll be a link in the show note.
I don't have a CLAMPmendation for this week, so I'm going to cop out and do Chase on Two Wheels because he kind of inspired this whole topic. So I figure, give him some love. I know I did Wreck Bike Rebuild last week, and that's who it is, but he makes really good content.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So mine for this week is a polymer clay artist. Her name is Astrid Wilk. She's on Instagram under Astrid Wilk Studio. Her stuff is beyond amazing. I love looking at it. She does a lot of variegated plants, a lot of philodendrons and monsteras and ficus. They're so beautiful. All of them are small enough that they could easily fit in the palm of your hand. She also makes these tiny little like wooden shelves and console cabinets and that sort of thing that you can actually set the plants on. So both the miniature furniture and the plant have magnets. It's pretty awesome. I've never really seen someone be able to get the leaf colors and textures so right in something so tiny. I'm always amazed. I could probably stare at her Instagram for hours, honestly. So if you like plants or if you like clay and art, I highly recommend her because there's really no one doing it better out there.
And if you want to see someone who does pictures still and gets tons and tons of love on their pictures, you should go check her out because her pictures get tons and tons of love.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like between 1,000 and 3,000 likes on photos, which is, very high.
Mm-hmm. So I'm telling you, pictures are back.
I know. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm waiting.
Well, you got to put out some more. You got to put out pictures that aren't just of your dog.
No, I'm not talking on my account. I'm talking on the Instructables account. Oh. I know my dog pictures aren't going to get me anywhere. Yeah. But she's too cute, and everyone needs to see her.
That's great. I just think like dog pictures are like pictures of people. Like as soon as people start posting like a bunch of selfies, which some maker accounts start doing, and I'm just like, I don't care what you look like. Post some pictures of things you're working on. Like stop posting pictures of yourself in a bikini. I'm unfollowing. I only follow people in bikinis on my other account.
Yep, on the hidden one.
That's right. But no, that's a wonderful. She makes some really cool stuff. It definitely is. It looks a lot bigger until. So if you make miniature stuff, she does it right where she has like her hand in there in a lot of the pictures to show how small it is. If you watch like Route 9 signs, he does like the twinning where he puts his sign up to the real sign.
Yeah.
But he holds it in his hand. Like that's the kind of stuff you got to do to show the like ridiculous scale nature of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I honestly think that's part of why she is so damn successful is that, her photography and the presentation for everything, you instantly know what you're looking at. You know, you're not like confused about the scale of it or if it's real or not. It's, really good.
Totes my goats. So now we're going to move on to Jessy's segment, Ask Us Anything.
I like that this has become my segment now.
Yeah.
So the Ask Us Anything question for this week comes from Warren Matten, and he asks, ways to get out of sharing or lending tools.
Don't have friends.
That's the easiest way. So then your neighbor who you don't like comes over and asks to borrow something. What do you do?
It's broken.
That was probably what I was going to say. Or just explaining all the quirks the tool has because I've had it for a decade and it doesn't work as well anymore. And then normally people don't want to play with it.
I just lend my tools out. I don't care.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I don't have random people ask me to borrow tools. Like I have like my stepdad or whoever might ask if I can borrow a tool, but I'm borrowing tools off him all the time too. So it's two-way street.
So oftentimes if a neighbor keeps borrowing my tool, I'll mention to their significant other so that they can get that one of those for their birthday or Christmas. Or if it's like something I have multiples of, I just tell them to keep it. So like a neighbor of mine kept borrowing my air compressor and my torque wrench and like all the stuff to like change tires. Every spring and fall, he would come over and like whatever, borrow it. So I mentioned to his wife that he needs a torque wrench, and she got it for him for his birthday or Christmas, and then I just gave him one of my air compressors because I was tired.
How many
like
air
he literally,
did you have?
I think I had like 3 or 4, but I just gave him one of the little ones.
Why?
Because like, you just
it makes me think, right? So I got a welder off one of my mates, and my stepdad asked if he could borrow it. I was like, yeah, sure, you can borrow it, but then you keep it at your house, and I'll come borrow it whenever I need it, because then I don't have to store it.
Yeah,
maybe
that is a good way.
Yeah, you just turn it around on them and tell them they have to store it, and maybe they don't want it anymore.
Yeah. It was a good way to do it. I mean, if I had an air compressor, I'd probably do the same thing too, because like those big tools are annoying to store.
Right. So I gave him my littlest air compressor, which I literally, the only time it got used was when he would come over. He'd come over and borrow it.
It was kind of his anyway.
Yeah. Because like I used it for a while, and then I got a bigger one, and the bigger one has wheels, and the little one didn't have wheels. So, yeah. So you know what? Just be nice and lend out your tools.
Yeah.
There you go. I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. I would also like to request that everyone go and write a review for the podcast. If you write a review, I'll read it. I'll read whatever words you put, no matter what language you put them in, no matter what you put. I'll read the words as long as they show up on the review thing. I'll read the words. You can say poo poo caca, whatever. Grant Sicily.
Unless it's very offensively racist.
That's not
I'll read the words as someone's just like white supremacist stuff and
okay.
I love that your example was white supremacist.
Well, I don't know, but you need to have some sort of disclaimer there.
Yeah.
Well, if it shows up on Apple Podcast reviews, which is pretty much the only place you can do it, there's also Podcast Addict. That's the 2 places I know you can write a review. If they like somehow get through their screening, you put the N-word in it, well, I'm not going to read it. You're right. I'm not. But I will read most of the words that you put up as long as they're not hate speech, because in Canada, that's protected. You can't have hate speech.
Hate speech, that's the word. That's the words I meant.
Yeah.
That's the official language. Yeah.
So if you want to do that, you can do that. If you want to find us and follow us over on the social media where we like to post every week, and as well as post highlights, reels, you can do that on Instagram. If you want to see the same thing but in shorts content, you follow us on YouTube. And if you want to see it in a slightly different reels content, you can follow us on Facebook. Just search for Clamp Podcast on all the usual social media places. I think you can also TikTok us.
Yep. If you want to watch them with nice background music, you can come to TikTok.
That's right. I refuse to put the background music in. You're right.
You should put the music and then turn the volume down so we still get the
it doesn't
push
work.
of the song.
They've really pushed back on that.
Damn.
But these are all things you got to know if you're in the know.
Well, I'm not in the know. So bye.
Bye.